Hey, what's up, guys? Terrell here from Terrell Game Vlogs. I wasn't going to do a part two, but I figured I'd do a part two. And the funny thing is that the part two is more based off of listening to other people's opinions and reading some of the comments and kind of addressing some things and giving some secondary opinions. Because at the end of the day, as I've said in the first video and I've said before, I personally don't. It's not like one of those things where I was innately triggered, all right, when he said the N word, right? When he said the N word with a hard R. And I understand that for a lot of people, you all have dealt with some sort of racism in your lifetime. So that's why it's a big, and I'm not even denying that it's not a big deal in its own right, especially considering this isn't the first time PewDiePie's said something racist. The issue is more along the lines of kind of my opinion at the situation and then what the situation is in a lot of different ways. At the end of the day, he said it more in terms, and I think Etika's video, which is one thing I thought I would never say, Etika's video kind of hit a nail on something that I had completely taken out of context and didn't even think about. PewDiePie, like a lot of kids, were raised in internet culture. And let's be real here, the amount of nigger comments that show up online is insane. And if you were the kind of person who hung out on 4chan or was on the internet in the early to mid 2000s when YouTube and everything was just getting kicked off and whatnot, you were exposed to that word a lot. And the reason why people used it a lot is because nigger is and will remain to be one of those words that will automatically trigger an individual. Whether it's because of inborn trauma or what, or the obvious fact that it's a racial slur, right? And the issue is that part of it might be because of that. That doesn't excuse the situation at all, right? Regardless, and I saw in the comments about mentioning how he was a comedian. It's weird because it's not like I personally think he's running around. I think literally it's ingrained into his vocabulary. It's hard for some people to kick using words. It's obvious that he's been using the word, and he probably has no intention of stopping to use the word. The only reason, because we saw his apology video was like less than a minute. He made the most simplistic, basic apology video as he could, and then just said, and just said we're gonna move on from it. PewDiePie recognized it, and it felt like that video literally came out because it had to come out. He had two options. He could make an apology video or he could move forward. I don't think PewDiePie thinks there's nothing inherently wrong with using the word nigger, but he knows how much of a backlash it creates if he doesn't say anything about it at all, which is why he made the video. And so that's the problem now. PewDiePie will always have this level of disingenuity to him. It's the same thing when people got on about the Hitler comments and stuff, which although it was that one was a different situation, it was that same era of there are boundaries and you need to understand that if you expect, and that's the other thing as a content creator, at some point you have to pander to your fans. So either you be completely honest and talk, and I wish that's what he would have done. I wish PewDiePie would have got out there and said his whole historical spiel on the word nigger, and instead of just walking up and being like, I know that was wrong, I know it was immature, I'm gonna do better, and then we fade to black and everything's fucking over. I wish he had got out there and actually had the conversation. If you fuck up, this would have been the perfect time to make this a real conversation and discuss his true feelings on the matter. Because I feel like that's my biggest issue here. I feel like that's why I said the apology video felt so disingenuous. Because I'm like, have the conversation. You brought it up. You shit the bed. Make it the conversation. Make the conversation and state yourself front and center. iDubbbz does that when he mentions the term nigger faggot because he's trying to de-arm the word. Right now, the word nigger has a bunch of fucking guns in its hand. And it's able to ruin the lives of people purely for its being spoken. Whether it's because of the person who's using the word or the reaction of the person it's pointed towards. Nigger has a lot of fucking power, more than it really should have. And because of that, iDubbbz, I think openly in one of his videos mentions, he's like, I'm gonna devalue the fuck out of that word. That's what you need to do. You use it as a casual word, normalize it. It loses more and more power every day. That's why the word bitch doesn't mean as much anymore. You can still trigger people off the word bitch, but bitch won't get somebody killed most of the time nowadays. You also got to realize, and because I think one of my older subscribers, I forget her original YouTube name. I think it's Flame Girl, I believe. I think she was the one who called me a coon in the comment section because of me not understanding why of the whole why is it just a word. And look, here's my thing. There are people who have suffered true traumatic events with that word being used during said event, and obviously it's going to bother and hurt those people because they have real life experiences attributed to that word. But the other side of the coin, not the only side, but the other side of the coin is that there's a bunch of kids who didn't grow up like that. I am proud to say I didn't really deal with that. Really, what I would view. I don't think anyone's ever directly. I've never ran into a non-black person calling me a Nigger. I don't even think I've run into anybody calling me a nigger. Nigga, maybe. I've had white people ask me, are they allowed to use the word nigga? But I've never had like someone call me a nigger for the fuck of it. And there are more and more of those kids able to grow up and lead those perfectly fine lives. Not all kids, and it's damn sure still a problem. And I don't want to downplay this at all. But there are some kids who legitimately didn't deal with that kind of shit. So when you have, but you know what? The problem is that the parents have dealt with it, and instead of the parents just educating them on the situation, they teach their kids to hate another race of people based off of not their experiences, but their parents' experiences, where they're coming at you on some mean, hateful shit based on absolutely nothing. And that's my issue. When people go, why do you have this such an indifference to the word nigger? I'm like, because I didn't deal with the same trauma as you. I recognize the whole historical value of the word, and I recognize that it's a very painful and hurtful word for people. But I'm not that person. I'm not going to sit here and pretend like that word hurts me as much as it hurts someone else. That's me creating a fake sense of, oh yeah, I totally relate, even though I've never been through this struggle with you. That's like white people trying to relate to black people, to the older black generation who did go through slavery or did go through the segregation period of time, where they couldn't walk into a normal bathroom all the time. That was something that was earned over time, right? That the same way those black people get mad at those white people for trying to relate to them, knowing they can't, would be the same as me trying to pretend like nigger hurts me just as much as it hurts that woman who suffered possibly getting sexually assaulted by a racist white man who looked down on her and was trying to use her as some type of fucking sex doll while racially demeaning her. I can't compare that. I'm not gonna do it. So when people ask me why I don't give that word, I can say what I can say about the word nigger. It's because I personally realize I've seen more people get hurt because they got offended over a word than anything else. And that's what I've seen. That's what I saw in my life. I saw kids. I saw family and friends get super mad just because the word was used. Not even if it was used in a racially demeaning way. It was just used as a casual word. And I'm more referring to nigga than nigger. I rarely heard the word nigger much. It was more nigga. I've heard more black people flip out because they use, what's up, my nigga? That's what they do. They walk up to my friend. They walk up to their friends like, hey, what's up? And the other dude comes up and he's like, what's up, my nigga? And for some reason that turns into, I'm about to beat your motherfucking ass. That's what I was surrounded with. And that's what I dealt with personally. So for me, I recognize the trauma, which is why I try not to downplay it. That's one of the reasons why we even went into that whole tangent about PewDiePie recognizing who his fan base is. And Melvin, I believe, put up a great point about me not censoring myself, right? And why should PewDiePie have to censor himself? I don't necessarily think PewDiePie has to censor himself. He just needs to, and that's the reason why I said I wish his apology video, he had just addressed his thoughts and opinions on the word nigger instead of doing this dumb shit where he fucking said it, had his friend sit there and try to backpedal, defend his stupid ass for saying it, and then his apology video is just a simple, I'm sorry guys, I'm not going to do it again. Knowing damn well he probably still doesn't think he did anything wrong. No, and he doesn't want to have the discussion. To me, that was a bitch move. Have the fucking discussion. You started it. But you made your decision to walk away from it. So, and because he did this, I want this to be stated, because as we all know, this isn't the first racially insensitive thing he's done. If it gets brought up again, at that point, regardless or not of whether, or of your opinion of whether if nigger is a term or a racial slur is okay, because as I said, I've moved past it. I have moved past it. If he brings it up, if he slips up again, that's it. That's it. At that point, you completely 100% deserve to get lambasted to a higher degree than he did during this whole scandal. And why? Because he had the opportunity to have the conversation and state himself and present himself plainly, and instead chose to run and hide behind a fucking apology and said, "Oh, all right, I just fucked up, guys." And I don't even think he thinks he fucked up. I think he only did it because he knew it was going to blow up in his face. I would have respected him a lot more if he had just came out and said and been honest about it. Instead, he just gave me a half-ass apology. But yeah, as far as the Coon statements are concerned, and at the end of the day, he can do whatever the fuck he wants, but he just needs to understand that his actions have consequences. You're dealing with the fucking internet. Nigger has never been an okay word to say. Never. It was only okay when you were the dude in power. And it wasn't even okay then. It was just that people couldn't do anything to you if you said it then. Now, people will openly beat your ass for saying it. And people think, oh, it's just the word. That's not the point. Well, I mean, words are words. That's the reality of the situation. Words can be used in a positive or negative context as a means to offend or berate another individual. Just like I'm not gonna fucking go up and beat somebody's ass because they call me a pussy or a bitch. To me, niggers in the same boat. I'm not gonna go lose my shit and make an ass out of myself because he said a word. And I understand, and if you don't feel the same, I'm not here to make you feel the same. I just think what bothers me more is that I've seen way more black people lose their lives over that word than they really had any right to. You had these strong individual strong black men and women lose their lives over this fucking word because they wanted to prove a point that they didn't even end up proving. They want to sit there and talk about how, we need to rise and we need to join together as a community, which we still haven't done, by the way. I want that to be stated. We have to do that. It depends on the situation and how picky we want to be about dumb shit. We want to sit there and talk about how we're going to rise up and be better, not going to get taken down by the system and shit. And then the first time someone utters that word, it's automatically a fight and a shootout. Who the fuck is that easy to throw their lives away over a fucking word? I'm not going to do that over a word. Especially when I have other means of moving ahead and not devolving into savage violence and shit. And it's fine. As I said, I'm not the kind of person, I'm not going to delete comments. All those comments are still up. I want people to be able to state their opinion. I want to have the discussion. If you want to start, I don't want to do this punk shit where I bring up the word and then just avoid the conversation entirely. Because nothing progresses when we don't talk about something. When we sweep it under the rug and we pretend like it's not there, you know what happens? A lot of hate and resentment and malice builds up under that fucking rug. And then the next time eventually it gets flipped over, whether it's by accident or if it's intentional, it's like this ugly fucking molding beast that now you have to deal with. I personally just think people are better than that. I feel like if you want to move forward, you need to just address it and have the conversation. Because I think PewDiePie has a very different opinion. But he knows that his opinion on the word nigger isn't popular or it's not that heavily accepted. And part of me, as far as the response of a lot of people who were fans of PewDiePie being like, it's just a word, I'm partially happy about that because I feel like that's the mindset we need to have moving forward, is to stop overly, but at the same time I agree with people like, I was watching Omni's video where people need to understand the historical context of the word and need to make their claims and comments pure. It's like, look, I understand it caused a lot of stress and trauma for a lot of different people. At the same time, I think as a race, it doesn't help to dwell on this word and make this word more powerful than it really should be. This word needs no power whatsoever. This word needs to be abolished. And you know how you abolish something? You fucking... Well, at least when it comes to words. I guess I should specifically say. When it comes to a word, the way a word loses its power, by stop giving it power. By stop reacting and stop doing all this shit, getting quote-unquote triggered when the shit happens. People only use the word, half of the people who use the word nigger use it to get a reaction out of people. Not because they necessarily hate black people, but they want to get a reaction. That's why it was used as a joke in so many videos. Because we know that's what happens. We know that's what happens. It gets taken to this high-ass extreme because it's a buzzword. It's a word that can get a fucking reaction out of somebody. That's what I'm saying. And then, as I said, there's a bunch of people nowadays who are triggered by the word and have never experienced anything to justify them getting angry at the word. They're angry at the word because of its historical reference and get mad. And remember, I'm specifically talking about the instances it's used without a racial context. If they're using it as a racial context, I don't think that should easily devolve into a fight. But you need to know in the back of your mind that kind of person needs to be watched. Just like PewDiePie's situation, I'm pretty sure he uses the word nigger way more frequently than he's openly willing to admit now. Well, not publicly. Anyway. Which is why his apology felt so half-assed. So I am concerned about that. But that's something I can't control what that man does. So at the end of the day, the way I look at it is I try to just display my thoughts and opinions and improve things in the only way I know how to. And for me, my suggestion is the word doesn't need to be used anyway. I mean, it's the same thing. And to be fair, it's the same thing when I was talking about earlier about the whole Etika response about him being raised on the internet. It's like people walking around telling people to kill themselves. That's fucked up in its own right. That shit shouldn't be said either at all, because there are people who've dealt with suicidal thoughts and depression, and you got like 5-year-olds and 10-year-olds online typing in your comment section, "Go drink bleach, kill yourself." That shit ain't cool either. But people fucking do that. That's where, if anything, the internet can bring out the best and the absolute worst in humanity. But in this age, you need to develop a thick skin. That's just a rule of thumb in general. And the stronger you become as an individual, the better you can represent not only yourself, but your race. Specifically in this situation with black people. Because PewDiePie, you should be better than that, and you should have the balls that if you're going to sit there and say something about niggers, or say the word nigger, you know what you do? You stand up for the situation. You sit there and you state your case and you create the dialogue. He wanted to do satire on the whole Fiverr situation and how easily manipulated people are. But when it comes to a racial slur that he accidentally says publicly, even though he probably says it privately more often than most of us probably think, well, actually probably not anymore. To me, that's too much. Dressing up as Hitler and being funny in the comedic way in that sense, but you don't want to address the topic when you actually fuck up. You can't have it both ways. It just makes you look like a fucking hypocrite. I don't know. That's just my thoughts. As far as the coon comments, I'm not fucking surprised. I don't think that will ever go away. But guess what? The same way, I'm not going to tell you to stop using the word coon. I feel like coon is just as offensive as a term. Because you're shitting on another person of your own race because you think they don't give a damn about you when you may not even know the fuck you're talking about. But, hey, like I said, you're free to use those words like I'm free to use my words. I appreciate the comments in the comment section and all that other fun stuff. This should be the last video I need to make about it, so thank you guys for watching. This has been the vlogs again for your boy Terrell, and I will catch you guys later. Peace out.